What's up everybody? Welcome to the Stocks channel. We saw the stock market going up to brand new all-time highs today and the market is still looking very bullish. How much higher can this market go before we finally see a stock market correction? First up, we'll take a look at the S&P 500 Spy Etf. So let's crack open this chart and see what's going on in the stock market today. Alright, so on the Spy Etf, we did see the price action going up 1.38% today, and we did close at a brand new all-time high way up here around $383. You can see we broke right through the previous all-time high like it wasn't even there, which was right around 381. We also had a really nice gap up and run sort of day, which is a very bullish sign, but we do need to remember that this gap is below and that gaps typically do get filled. Now, it doesn't mean this gap has to get filled right away, but it does mean this gap will likely get filled the next time we start to see a correction. So that gap will be filled somewhere around $379, and we definitely want to keep an eye on that level. Remember that gaps can also act as support, so it is possible that if that gap does fill, we could bounce from there and continue to head higher. So now that we're trading at brand new all-time highs, the question is, where is our price target going to be? If you've been following along, you should already know that the price target is still up here at $393, and as long as we have bullish price action and a bullish trend, we're likely heading towards SPY levels of $390. However, you can see I did add another Fibonacci extension level on here at the 0.786, which is typically not very significant, but you can see that the market did find resistance today at that level. So we'll go ahead and watch that $384 level as well, and it will be interesting to see if the market does struggle to break through that level or if it blasts right through it like it's not even there. So like I always say on the Stocks channel, the trend is your friend, and as long as we have this bullish trend, which is still very strong with bullish price action over that 5 EMA, we're likely going to continue to head higher to new all-time highs on the stock market. So as far as support levels go, we could find support right around 381, which is the previous all-time high, 379, which is the gap close, and then the strongest support of all is still going to be down here at the 20 simple moving average, which is now at 374. Don't forget, we could also still find support around 377, which was the previous price target. So this market's still looking really bullish, and even if we do see some cooling off, it would be completely normal after an incredibly bullish day like today. So a little bit of selling is completely normal in bull markets, and we've seen previous selling be buy the dip opportunities because we continue to head higher in this bullish market. So like I always say, don't try to call a top and just let the trend be your friend and follow the price action in the bullish trend. Next up is the Nasdaq 100 QQQ ETF, and we did see the QQQs gapping up as well, and we do have a huge gap that's opened up which won't close until we get to a price target of $317. We went up over 2.3% on the QQQs today, and we had an absolute beast of a day. The price action is trading well outside the upper Bollinger Band, which means we could see some retracement and some cooling off going into tomorrow. We did blast right through my price target at $321, which means we are going to start looking up above for the next price target, which is all the way up here at $333. Remember, when we break a price target, we typically want to see some follow through, and I would like to see one more day of price action closing over 321 before we get too bullish on this $333 number. Remember, the higher the market goes, the more risk there is to the downside, and the more likely we're getting closer and closer to a stock market correction. But we're not trying to call a top, we're just acknowledging the fact that there is definitely more risk the higher we go, and we want to be disciplined traders, and we want to make sure we have some cash as we continue to grind higher in this market. So on the Nasdaq 100 QQQs, you can see we still have a very strong bull trend, and we're still trading over the 5 EMA with bullish price action. Support levels will be at the previous all-time high at 319, the gap close down here at 317, and then of course the really strong support down at the 20 simple moving average, which is right around $313. So there's still a ton of support levels below the price action that we could still bounce off of and still have a very bullish setup in the Nasdaq 100. So I'm still looking for the Nasdaq 100 to continue to head higher, but it did close over that upper Bollinger Band, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it cool off tomorrow. If we continue to head higher at this rate, we might need to start talking about a blow off top scenario where we go up way too fast, way too far, and we need to cool off in a big way. Remember, the market typically takes the stairs up and the elevator down, and if we start taking the elevator up, it's only going to be more likely that we get a huge drop afterward. So I'll continue to watch that, and I will let you know if I start to see that scenario playing out. Next up is the Dow Jones Dia Etf, and we saw the Dow Jones going up 0.79%, and we're still closing over that 5 EMA with a strong bullish trend. The Dia ETF still hasn't hit its price target, which is still up here around $312, even though the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 continue to blast through price target after price target. So the Dow Jones is definitely lagging behind the bunch, but it's still looking bullish and it does still look like it wants to head higher. So all three indices still have bullish price action and bullish trending, which means this market is the real deal bull market, and we should continue to expect to see the market heading higher until we see something shift in this trend. Next up is the ARK ETF, and we see ARK gapping up, and we did give a lot of it back to close out the day, but we still did go up 0.67% today. My price target on ARK is around $149, and it does look like we touched that level today intraday before selling off. If we break a close over 149, the next price target on ARK is all the way up here at $156. Watch support levels off of the 5 EMA around 144, but the strongest support level is still going to be down here around $135. Next up is the VIX, which is our fear indicator, and we did see the VIX getting absolutely destroyed today, going down negative 7.14% and closing below all of the moving averages. The VIX could find support somewhere around 21.6, but the strongest support level is still down here at 20. Remember, the lower the VIX goes, that means there's less fear in the market, and it means we're less likely going to see selling because there's low fear and the market should continue to grind higher. So in order to see a sell-off or a stock market correction, we would need to see the VIX get back over 24.8, and we're just not seeing that scenario playing out right now. So the low fear is telling us that this market is likely to remain bullish. Next up is the US dollar, and we did see the US dollar getting a price action close back below the 5 EMA, and it looks like we did find resistance at the 50 EMA, which is a strong momentum bearish trend because that 50 EMA is negative sloping and the price action is trading below it. So the dollar still looks very weak, and it does look like this short-term bull trend is starting to reverse, and it does look like the price action is starting to close below the 5 EMA. So I'm looking for the dollar to continue to weaken and head down for one more leg lower, down around $89, where we should find support, and we might find a bottom in the dollar around that time. So right now the dollar is still looking weak, which means a strong stock market. When the dollar is weak, we should see strong gold, and we did finally see gold waking up today and finally bouncing off of the support level in a big way, going up 1.72% today. We could see the price action back to closing over the 50 EMA, and we're only about a day or two away from closing back over the 20 simple moving average. Remember, the 20 simple moving average is still over the 50 EMA, which means the medium term trend is still bullish on gold, and it means we could continue to trend higher from here. In the short term, we did see some volatility, but we did hold up on support and we did stop from forming a lower low. So gold is still looking good, and it could start running from here, and we're back to closing over this 1860 resistance level, so we'll go ahead and turn that green. So I'm looking for gold to try to test this level as support and get a positive bounce and start heading up to my price target at 1930. Next up is silver, and we see silver also looking bullish today, closing back above all of the moving averages except for the 20. So if silver can close up just a little bit higher, right around $26, it could start to run from here. As you can see, silver also held up on support, and it did form a higher low, and it is looking like it's ready to run. You can see the trend is still bullish in the medium term, and the short term trend is starting to reverse and looks like it wants to go bullish as well. My price target on silver is up here at $26.56. And a break and close over that means we're likely heading to $28 for silver. Next up is Bitcoin, and we see Bitcoin really just cooling off and kind of selling off a little bit today, and it's still down about negative 2.4% at the time that I'm filming this. It does look like we are going to find support somewhere around $35,000, and in the short term, it does look like we fell out of this wedge, but we do have a larger wedge that Bitcoin is still holding up within. So Bitcoin is still consolidating, but it still has a bullish trend in the short term with the 5 EMA still over the 13. But it does need to start bouncing from here soon, or this trend will start to look bearish. So Bitcoin is at a very strong confluence area right around this $35,000 to $36,000 range, and it could move big time either to the upside or the downside, and we don't want to guess. Because the trend is still bullish, it is likely to break to the upside, but in any consolidation, it could break in either direction, so we just want to wait and be patient. On Bitcoin, my price target was still never met, which is still up here at $42,700. Next up is Amazon stock, which had a very bullish day today, closing up over 4.5% and blasting right through resistance at 3,200 and closing above. We're back to closing over all of the moving averages, which is always going to be bullish price action. And the next price target I want to watch on Amazon is up here at $3,300. It does look like Amazon did find support and stopped itself from forming a lower low right around that $3,090 level. And now Amazon is starting to move in a big way, and it looks like it's ready to start breaking out. So Amazon is looking bullish, and when Amazon's bullish, the rest of the market is likely to head higher with it. Next up is Apple stock, and it's also looking just as good as Amazon, going up 3.29% today and back to closing over all of the moving averages. You can see that Apple is closing well above that 20 simple moving average, and it looks like it wants to come back up here to $136 and test that price level yet again. In the medium term, we still have a really nice bull trend, and in the short term, it looks like the bearish momentum is starting to reverse into some bullish momentum. So Apple is looking very good, and it is a market moving stock. So if Apple is heading up to $136, it does mean we could have more upside in this stock market before we see a correction. On the financial sector, we saw a little bit of selling today, and we're back to closing below the 5 EMA, but we still have a very strong bull trend, so it still could just be cooling off before it continues to trend higher. On the industrial sector, we're closing back above the 5 EMA with bullish price action, and we still have a strong bull trend. On the healthcare sector, we're closing well above the 5 EMA with a very strong bull trend, which means we're likely to continue to head higher. So going back to the S&P 500, you can see we still have very bullish price action and momentum all across the stock market, which means this market is still very bullish and it still wants to continue to head higher. We see low fear in the VIX, and we see the dollar continuing to look like it's weakening and it's ready to head down for another leg lower. So all of these signs are bullish, and I really can't see a scenario where we're heading towards a stock market correction at this point in time. There's just way too much upside going into earnings coming up, and there's a lot of bullish momentum across the board in the market. It's not like it's just one sector that's bullish. We're seeing bullish price action and momentum across all sectors, and we still have plenty of bears trying to short this market, which are only adding fuel to the fire. So like I always say, let the trend be your friend and don't bother trying to call a top. Just go with the trend and make the money while it comes easy. Of course, all of this is subject to change, but we'll see it in the price action and the trend when the market is due for a correction, and you'll have plenty of time to get out. Don't let the fear-mongering news or the bears scare you into not being in this market at this point in time. Remember, there's the Stocks Channel Discord, and we're absolutely crushing this market over there. And if you're interested in joining, check us out by clicking on the link in the description of this video. We're a disciplined, profitable trading community, and we're absolutely crushing this market. So next up, let's go ahead and take a look at the Stocks Channel Hot Stocks. It wouldn't be hot stocks if we didn't start with Tesla stock, and we did see Tesla stock going up 0.7%, and that's another price action close over the 5 EMA with a very strong bull trend. It does look like Tesla is starting to break out a little bit from this consolidation, and you can see this a lot easier if I switch over to a 1-hour chart where the price action is starting to peek its head over this resistance trend line, and it looks like it is getting ready to start to run. You can see on the 1-hour chart that these moving averages are starting to stack to the bull side, and we are slowly gaining some bullish momentum. So on the daily chart, you can see the trend is still very strong and very bullish, and the price action looks like we still want to continue to head higher. So once Tesla finishes out this consolidation and it does start to complete this breakout, I would expect to see Tesla get to $906 in a flash. Remember, for Tesla to stop looking bullish, we would need to see the price action below the 5 EMA, and we would need to see the 5 EMA cross below the 13 EMA. So until I see that happen, I'm going to remain bullish on Tesla stock, and I still think it's going up into the 900s until we see something change in this chart. So Tesla's still looking very good, but don't forget there's still plenty of risk in this stock. So if you're not already in this stock, please don't chase it. But if you are already in this stock, I can't really suggest you sell it just yet because it could have more upside to go. So this stock is very bullish, and it does look like it wants to go higher. Next up is NIO stock, and we saw NIO stock selling off a little bit today, going down negative 1.25%, but it did gap up higher for the morning, looking like it did want to run. So is it still just cooling off before it heads higher? It still does look bullish. The price action did close below the 5 EMA, but you can see we are finding support at the 13 EMA for 3 days in a row now. It does look like we're completing this correction cycle, and it does look like the price action wants to start heading higher off of this support level. The trend is still bullish, so I still think that NIO stock is going to have no trouble getting back up to $65. Once we get to 65, we'll have to see if the price action gets rejected or if we can break and close over that level and start running to 70. So I'm still bullish on NIO stock, and I do think with this bullish chart that it can continue to trend higher. Next up is Palantir stock, and we still see Palantir stock continuing to struggle to break resistance at $26.75. That's another price action close within the wedge, but if I go over to a 1-hour chart, you can see we're building a lot of momentum around that level, and we could be very close to a breakout. Remember, these are false breakouts because these are not acting as support after the resistance is broken. Once we break out and it's the real deal, we should find support at the top of that resistance trend line or above our resistance level at $26.75. So I still don't have Palantir as a buy, but if we start breaking out from here, it could be a buy very quickly. So back to the daily chart, there's still support somewhere around $25. And if we break out to the downside, there's other support right around 23 and 21. You can see the 50 EMA is positive sloping and it is starting to catch up to the price action, which is only going to be bullish for Palantir. The closer it gets to the 50 EMA, the more likely it's going to bounce. So Palantir is still a hold. I don't have it as a buy just yet, but we are getting very close to a possible buy on this stock. Next up is Alibaba Stock. And like I said with Alibaba last night, we were very likely to hit my price target today at $255. Lo and behold, we blasted right through it like it wasn't even there and gapped up all the way up here at 267. So it's safe to say that not only did Alibaba meet my price target, but it heavily exceeded my price target by over $10. So this stock will probably no longer be on Hot Stocks, but I will still cover it for my Stocks Channel Discord members. And if you want to still follow along with Alibaba and know which entries and exits we're trading it on, you will have to be a member at the Stocks Channel Discord community. You can find out how to join that if you want to join by clicking on the link in the description of this video. Next up is Zoom stock, and we finally saw Zoom stock cooling off a little bit after going up for 5 days in a row. We finally saw some selling going down negative 2.81% today. You can see we did find support right on top of the 5 EMA, and it does still look like Zoom is ready to run once it finds its support level and continues to bounce from here. I'm still extremely bullish on Zoom stock, and I still think Zoom is going to have no trouble getting up here to my price target at $418. I think this is a great buy the dip stock while it's bullish and it's running, and I have plenty of entries and exits on this stock on the Stocks Channel Discord server. So if you want to come trade with the Stocks Channel, I have plenty more hot stocks daily where I'm giving you buy entries at the ground level where you can make a lot of money if you're paying attention. So come check us out. You can find out how to join by clicking on the link in the description of this video. We're very disciplined and profitable trading community, and we're absolutely crushing this market. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you're making a ton of profits in this market. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.